the future of high school, the Academy of Health Sciences at Prince George's County Community College. My name is Curtis Valentine. I'm co-director of the Reinventing America Schools project. Today's event is co-sponsored by my project, the New Skills for a New Economy project, and the 74. The Reinventing America Schools project is housed at the Progressive Policy Institute and promotes a model of schools we call 21st century school systems, or systems that provide parents more choice and give schools more autonomy in return for more accountability. Our research shows that public school systems that do this produce the most rapid improvement in student performance, particularly for Black and Latino students. Today's webinar is the first in a three-part series we are calling The Future of High School. This series is an opportunity to highlight innovation in America's secondary school system and its impact on jobs and the future. Before I get into the panel, and I'm so glad to be joined with an all-star panel today, I want to introduce my colleague at the Progressive Policy Institute and the director of our New Skills for a New Economy project, Taylor Magg. How you doing, Taylor?
Hi, Curtis. I'm well. Thanks for having me today.
So good to see you. Taylor, your project is entitled The New Skills for a New Economy. For our listeners who are here listening in, what is the new economy and why are high schools like the Academy of Health Science at the Prince George's Community College so important to creating a pipeline into this so-called new economy?
Thanks, Curtis. And first off, I just want to say again, thank you for including me in this conversation. I feel so honored to be beside the esteemed leaders that you all will be hearing from momentarily. As Curtis mentioned, I'm the director of the New Skills for New Economy project. I'm also the director of workforce development policy for PPI. This project seeks to ensure all Americans, regardless of their post-secondary path, can be upwardly mobile in our society. I work very closely with Curtis and the Reinventing America Schools team because education is a key piece to this puzzle. We cannot ensure current and future students are prepared for college and careers without our education system and the reforms needed to make those dreams a reality. This work, Curtis, like you mentioned, is increasingly important. We are operating in a new economy than we were even 2 years ago, than prior to the pandemic, and even 10 years ago. It's changing very rapidly. Today, advancements in AI and technology will continue to demand different knowledge and skills from our students and future workers. Additionally, we face unprecedented workforce shortages in critical industries that keep our communities alive and well, including roles like nurses, teachers, and more. To prepare for these in-demand jobs and also jobs that are coming and are being created today and that we'll see in a few years, most of these opportunities will require some post-secondary education and training. But today's students are questioning the value of college due to the time and cost of their education. So it's increasingly being the value of especially a four-year degree is being questioned, while we know some college and especially some sort of post-secondary education is critical to be competitive in the job market. That's why models like the Academy of Health Science at Prince George's Community College are so critical. This type of school creates a new type of learning environment where students learn the college and career skills needed to advance after high school. I'll obviously let Dr. Valentine talk more about the design and vision of the school, but I wanted to call out that strategies that they use, like dual enrollment and co-locating their campus on the community college, allow students to have the opportunity to graduate with an associate's degree in relevant health sciences and education careers, which is incredibly, incredibly important and incredibly innovative. We don't see that everywhere. This type of opportunity not only makes college more affordable for students because they're able to learn those necessary credits while in high school. So it's reducing the cost of if they decide to go on further and earn their full degree for the program, but it also connects students to in-demand careers and helps develop a really strong talent pipeline for the future in industries that we know are critical, not only for people to enter into, but again, like I said, for communities to continue to thrive.
Taylor, we have Senator Washington on here. We have, I'm assuming, and almost can predict, a number of local and state policymakers from around the country who are listening in. Why should state and local government officials prioritize high schools of the future that prioritize dual enrollment, and career pathways to high demand careers that in some ways include youth apprenticeships.
Thanks, Curtis. And thank you all for joining, and state and local officials and leaders. We appreciate you here at PPI and all the work you're doing to try to advance these efforts. Reinventing high schools is a critical priority for us at PPI and for the New Skills Project, because like I mentioned, we cannot solve our current workforce issues without thinking about future talent development and ensuring our students are set up for success. And these types of strategies are what we need, and we need them earlier and more often than what we're seeing across the country. Strategies like Curtis mentioned that promote college and career pathways like dual enrollment, career and technical education reform, work-based learning opportunities, including apprenticeship, and even more strategies are all necessary to ensure young people have the skills needed to advance after high school. However, as speakers today probably can discuss and talk more to, these activities are costly, they take extensive time, and require robust state and local partnership to coordinate efforts. So that's why it's so important that state and local government officials prioritize these efforts, that they consider and enact policies that make it easier for our leaders to design, implement, and scale successful programs, so we can see more students have these opportunities and see greater impact on our communities and economies at large. I'll also just give a quick shout out, Curtis, while I know we are focusing on state and local leaders today, I would be remiss to say that obviously federal policymakers should step up as well, right? We need that encouragement at the federal level. We need leaders to enact reauthorizations and policies that also make it easier for you all to do the work at the state and local level as well. So of course, we know that a lot of these policies, especially in K-12 education, are locally and state run, which allows for that really contextualized flexibility to meet the needs of your district. However, we also know that federal policy can facilitate, and make it easier for you all to do that work and do the work at scale. So I just wanted to add that we, of course, at PPI are working to also inform our federal policymakers around these issues, why it's so critical, and encourage more of these strategies that prepare young people for college and careers more seamlessly.
Thank you so much, Taylor. Before I let you go, how can folks follow the work that you're doing and get involved in your project?
Thanks, Curtis. Yes, I will put it in the chat, information to our website page. And again, Curtis and I, this is a series that we will be working on. So look out for future webinars to come on this issue and other great examples happening across the country. Thanks, Curtis. And I'm excited to learn more from the great speakers today.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Taylor. Thank you for joining us. Before we get into the panelists, one more thing I want to do. It's in the interest of the panelists and myself to know who's actually in the audience. And so this is an opportunity for you, those who are watching us through the Zoom in particular, to tap in. So the question is, which group do you most identify with? And you only can choose one. Is it being a parent, an educator, a funder, a journalist, an advocate, or a policymaker? Now, panelists, you cannot vote, unfortunately, as you're directly in the panel. But for those who are listening in, we want to give those who are speaking a sense of who's in the audience. Like a lot of us, we kind of identify with more than one. Some of us are parents and educators, parents and policymakers, parents, educators, and policymakers. And so as you all are doing that, I will allow my guests to introduce themselves, and then we'll come back and share exactly what the audience said. So I'm going to start at the lower half of my screen, allow you to introduce yourself, say what you do. And I'll start with you, Senator Washington.
Thank you, Curtis Valentine, man. Good to see you, brother, as always. Fellow Prince Georgian and Marylander, happy to be here with you and everybody on this panel. My name is Alonzo Washington. I'm a state senator representing the great state of Maryland and District 22 right here in Prince George's County. I've been a legislator for over 10 years now, serving on the House Ways and Means Committee and the House of Delegates before I became a state senator. And I served as one of the members of the Blueprint for Maryland's Future, also known as the Kerwin Commission, which led education reforms from pre-K, early childhood education, to 12 reforms in the state of Maryland. And so I'm just happy to be here with you all. And education is extremely important to me. And as I told the team here, the panelists here, if you see me go black, that means my 5-month-old baby needs me at the moment. So I'm gonna go tend to her, and then I'll be right back.
Good to see you, brother. Fatherhood First, again, always answering the call. He's come to speak to my class, and a very strong Maryland Terp representing. Appreciate you, Doc. Dr. Jean-Paul Cadet.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Jean-Paul Cadet, and I'm the proud director of the Department of Career and Technical Education with Prince George's County Public Schools.
Good to see you, brother. Also a Maryland Terp and a Morehouse man. So we'll definitely, you're wearing two hats today. Dr. Davis.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Julius Davis. I am a professor in education at Bowie State University, and I'm also the founding director for the Center for Research and Mentoring of Black Male Students and Teachers. Thank you all for having me.
Good to see you, brother. And we'll talk about you. You've done so much. And congratulations, the only HBCU to receive an award from the Department of Education recently. And maybe we'll talk about that as well. Sydney Foster, introduce yourself, sir. Sydney, I think you're on mute, brother. We can't hear you. Can you turn that up? You're actually not on mute, but I can't see. I can't hear you. Still can't. You can work on that, and I'll definitely come to Dr. Valentine. But I definitely want you to work.
Can you hear me now?
I can't hear you now. Beg your pardon. There you go. Perfect.
Okay. Good afternoon. My name is Sydney Foster. I attended the Academy of Health Sciences. I'm a rising sophomore. I'm also the first 8th grader to attend the Black Males Teacher College at Bowie State University.
Perfect. Good to see you. And last but not least, Dr. Daria Valentine. I think we have a lot of doctors on this panel, so I love to see this. Dr. Daria Valentine.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Daria Valentine. I'm the principal of the Academy of Health Sciences here at Prince George's Community College, a 20-year veteran of Prince George's County Public Schools. And I am glad to be here to join you all today.
And again, thank you all for joining me. Dr. Valentine, while you have the floor, I do want to come to you. In 2013, the Maryland legislature passed, and then Governor Martin O'Malley signed, the College and Career Readiness and College Completion Act. That act enacting a law that public institutions of higher education in Maryland may not charge tuition to a dual enrolled college student, particularly at community colleges, which really opened the door for students throughout the state of Maryland to get access to free college education. Dr. Valentine, your school is so unique because it is the only one in the state that's actually physically located on a community college campus. What is the Academy of Health Science at the Prince George's Community College, and how is it unique to other high schools in Prince George's County, your district, and in the state of Maryland?
Okay. So we are one of about 5 or 6 early college programs here in Prince George's County. Our students earn their high school diploma at the end of 4 years, as well as their associate's degree in one of 2 career pathways. They either focus on health sciences or associate's of arts in teaching. And we are unique because, as you mentioned, we are the only one here in Prince George's County on a community college's campus. And in the state, we are the first. So though the legislation was enacted in 2013, we've been here since 2011. So we've been somewhat of a model for many of other schools in our district and in the state as well.
You mentioned the career pathways. Can you talk a little bit more about the 2 career pathways that your students can opt into and what they entail?
So we have, first, our program was founded on the health sciences pathway, in which our students earned an associate's, a general studies, and with a concentration in health sciences. Our students who are on that pathway are typically prepared to enter a 4-year institution to study careers in health sciences and prepare for careers in health sciences. So we have students who enter careers in research, biomedical fields, nursing, medicine, and this particular pathway is also more transferable to other degrees. So if they choose to take their interest and not pursue a health sciences sciences career, these credits, our students all generally go to other institutions that accept 50 and 60 of the credits that they've taken if they enter similar fields, computer science, engineering, and some sort. We are in the process of exploring a partnership right now with the University of Maryland Eastern Shore, their pharmaceutical studies. Our teacher prep pathway was designed with a grow your own pipeline in mind with our school district. We have partnerships with University of Maryland, Bowie State, one of two partnerships now with Bowie State. And Howard University. Our University of Maryland partnership affords our students an opportunity to have a free application waiver to go to University of Maryland. Students who do receive admission into University of Maryland also receive guaranteed admission into their College of Education. At Bowie State University also receive an application waiver. Of course, admission opportunities, if they earn the associates, they are guaranteed admissions into Bowie State as well. They also receive opportunities to take discount courses towards the teacher pathway, whether they're working on a bachelor's in special education, secondary education, elementary, or what have you, and also paid partnerships during their academic program. Howard University offers us an opportunity if they receive acceptance into Howard University, is not guaranteed, 15% tuition reduction and a support to a $5,000 scholarship. So those are three partnerships that we have for our teacher prep pathway, and one exploratory partnership for our health sciences pathway. And so we're always looking for other opportunities to partner with our local institutions and provide our students a variety of opportunities.
Thank you so much. And later on in the panel, I do want to touch on your perspective as a mother of a child who's in a similar program, and what sort of pitch you have towards parents who are deciding whether to enroll their children in a school like yours. I do want to come to Dr. Cadet, who is at the school district level and who leads the CTE program within Prince George's County Public Schools, which is the 20th largest school district in the country. Dr. Cadet, in 2011, Prince George's County Public Schools entered into this partnership with the Community College of Prince George's to create this school. So it's about 12 years old.
Right.
But I do want to get into particularly your office. I don't want to assume that districts around the country have an office like yours and have someone like you in that seat. So what is the Office of CTE and what exactly do you do in that office?
Thank you for the question, Curtis. So the Department of Current Technical Education, we provide the resources to all of our schools throughout Prince George's County to provide the opportunity for students to have access to experiential learning, where they're able to explore future careers and just paths of interest that they may want to pursue after high school. So the same way how every student who's interested in going to college, or every parent interested in their child going to college, you probably have an idea or an intended major for that child. Going through a CTE program allows you to explore and experience that occupation free of charge, where you can actually graduate from high school with credentials, licensures, and endorsements that already put that student ahead of the game within that particular field of choice. So if I'm interested in barbering or IT or auto, we have a program that suits the needs of every student. And we believe that the benefit for parents that some may not know is that if you go through a program such as Dr. Valentine, when you graduate with your 4-year diploma, but also with an associate's degree. So then that also cuts down the amount of time that a student would need to spend in a traditional 4-year college. And through CTE, we offer articulated credits, transcripted credits, and also dual enrollment options where students are also able to graduate with similar things. So the lump sum of to answer your question is, through our 11 clusters, we offer 36 pathways, and those range anywhere from environmental, agricultural, natural resources to arts, media, communication, to business management and finance, consumer hospitality and services, health and biosciences, public safety, fire science, homeland security, JRTC. We also have a cluster in human resource services that focuses on education, which would be to Dr. Valentine's point, the Teacher Academy, the Teacher Academy of Maryland, the Early Childhood Education, and the Child Development Associate. We also have robust programs in information technology, career and construction and development, as well as our manufacturing, engineering technology, which leads into our transportation technology. There actually is a CTE program in every single state, and every LEA does have a facet of CTE. Prince George's County Public School, we offer it in a very robust way that it is connected and it is evident and it is represented in every component from elementary, middle, and in the high school.
I want to get back to the question of how your office liaises and connects to the academy and how districts can learn from that. I do want to come back to you later on in the panel, and I'll do so. And I do want to come to Senator Washington. But before I do that, I do want us to get to our survey results to find out who exactly is in the audience. So Tommy, if you could pull those up to show us that 42% of those who are listening in are actually educators. And 39% are actual advocates, folks who are literally pushing policymakers like yourself, Senator Washington, around these issues. And so those are constituents, those are parents who are saying, I want this for my child, whether they're in Maryland or they're around the country. So you all, as you're, engaging, understand we do have parents and journalists in the room, but the bulk of our audience are advocates and educators. But I do want to come to you, Senator Washington. In 2019, Maryland's Commission on Innovation and Excellence in Education issued policy priorities, which were codified into law with the historic blueprint for Maryland's future. Policy areas included early child education, high quality teachers and learners, college and career readiness pathways, including CTE, more resources to ensure all students are successful, and governance and accountability. In Pillar 3 in particular, or as we call it, the college and career readiness section, the blueprint outlines students meeting college and career readiness standards will have access to post-college and career readiness pathways at no cost. Post-CCR pathways, as they're called, should be flexible, allowing students to develop in-depth knowledge of subject area, earn post-secondary education credit, industry credentials, and engage in competitive entry college preparation programs. So Senator Washington in particular, you were a member of this commission. Why was career readiness pathways a priority for this commission that you sat on?
Thank you for the question. And, it was that commission lasted about 4 years of studying different career readiness pathways, not only just in the country, but around the world. And so we spent 4 years studying it, figuring out what's the best policies for our state and how it would fit here in Maryland. And so we did come up with a strategy in which you just completely outlined. So thank you for that. And, for us, it was one of the pillars that we wanted to make sure we captured every piece of our educational system so that we can provide a world-class education for all of our students. That includes our students that are currently in our schools, but making sure they're prepared for when they graduate. So as the previous speakers mentioned, we wanted to make sure that it was completely free for all students that wanted to enter into dual enrollment into these programs. We wanted to beef up our CTE programs and provide more resources for our CTE programs. That's what our community wanted. We listened to our community. We went around the state in those 4 years and listened to our community. And what they wanted was more CTE opportunities for students. More career pathways for our students, making sure our students are career ready by the 10th grade. And that means making sure they are meeting the educational standard test scores by the end of their 10th grade year as well. And so we did that. And these are things that we thought were extremely important because these 5 pillars are right now, the Blueprint for Maryland's Future is seen as the next level of education reform for the entire country. And many, shout out to my 3 policymakers that are on this call. This is something that we all need to do and invest in because at the end of the 10-year program, which we have here in Maryland, there's going to be about $4 billion in additional funding every year by the 10th year of this program. So that's significant. We've never seen that type of investment in public education for a very long time. And so it's much needed.
And so in particular, how does AHS, the Academy of Health Sciences at Prince George's Community College, fit into this blueprint and fit into the goals of the commission?
Yeah, I think the previous speaker spoke to this already. Is making sure they're career ready, making sure that making sure that AHC, the Academy of Health Sciences, have the resources that they need in order to be successful. First, I want to just thank Dr. Valentine for her service at Greenbelt Middle School here in my district. Being a little bit parochial here, but thank you for your service to our community, and thanks for your work that you're doing at AHS as well. And so we believe that removing those barriers that students need in order to provide an associate's degree, to have an associate's degree by their fourth year of their high school, will help them become more career ready. If they decide not to go to a four-year college initially, they'll be able to go into the workforce right after. So that meets our goal of being career ready as soon as they graduate from high school with an associate's degree. So that this program is, as the Dr. Valentine said, we've had this before that legislation that was passed by led by Martin O'Malley at that time. And so Prince George's County has been a leader in dual enrollment for the state of Maryland.
Thank you so much. I want to come to Dr. Davis and the work he's doing at Bowie State as a partner. Before that, I do want to go back out to our audience and do another survey. I want to know what's happening around the country. And this survey is a very quick one. And the question is, does your school district offer a free dual enrollment option? So no matter where you are around the country, does your school district offer a free dual enrollment option? We're going to come back to you as you all are answering that after we come to a national leader on education, particularly as it relates to teacher training and male educators of color, and probably the most humble expert you ever want to meet, Dr. Julius Davis. Dr. Davis, pillar 2 of this blueprint for Maryland's future is the idea of increasing high quality and diverse teachers. Again, this is a landmark piece of legislation in the state of Maryland. And one of those pillars is really around diverse teachers. The pillar highlights that Maryland's current teacher workforce does not reflect the growing diversity of the state's student population. The report also says that a growing body of research has shown that increased diversity amongst teachers and broader sets of school professionals benefit student achievement and outcomes. Black students having just one black teacher, by third grade are 13% more likely to enroll in college. Let me say that again. Black students having just one black teacher by third grade are 13% more likely to enroll in college, and having two black teachers are 32% more likely to enroll in college. And so, Dr. Davis, what is Bowie State University's Center for Research and Mentoring of Black male students, and how is your center partnering with AHS to address the need that the blueprint is outlining for diverse teachers in the state of Maryland?
So thank you, Curtis. I appreciate the invitation. So the Center for Research and Mentoring of Black male students and teachers started in 2019 with an award from the University System of Maryland, the Wilson H. Elkins Professorship. And that funding allowed for us to start the center in that year. During that time, we created several programs to address teacher diversity. One being the Black Male Teachers College, which Mr. Foster was our first 8th grade student in the program. And one of the reasons why he was the first 8th grade student is because we realized that trying to talk to students in high school was almost too late to introduce them to the teaching profession. Some of the things that we've learned in the Black Male Teachers College is that most of the Black male students that we've interacted with around the country virtually through the Black Male Teachers College program had never been asked to consider the teaching profession, nor had many of them had a Black male teacher in their life. And the Black Male Teachers College was oftentimes the first time that they ever had a Black male teacher. And so since I've been at Bowie, and since I've known that we've had the partnership with Prince George's County Public Schools and Prince George's Community College, I've been a part of the Bowie team working to solidify the partnership and continue to enhance it. And I've also served on the Prince George's County Public Schools Education Advisory Board and the Prince George's Community College Education Advisory Board. And one of the things that kept being common amongst the both boards is that they had very few Black males, very few males at all in the programs, and particularly in areas that are STEM related. And one of the things that we kept finding in at least the Education Advisory Board for Prince George's County Public Schools was that students weren't being engaged. And so considering our longstanding partnership with Prince George's County Public Schools and Prince George's Community College, and that initial partnership that Dr. Valentine highlighted that allowed students who complete the teacher prep pathway to come to Bowie State University, we sought to enhance it by trying to insert more males into that pipeline with support from the National Science Foundation, $3.9 million for us to try to encourage more males to enter the teaching profession. I have to say, I humbly thank those in Prince George's County who forgave my missteps in this process and who continue to work with us in this. We've been working together over a long period of time, just trying to impact the pipeline. And so now we get to go to another level and try to impact Black males into this teacher workforce.
Thank you so much, Dr. David. I do want to come to you in a second after I speak with Sydney about the significance of an historically Black college entering into this space. I don't want it to be lost on folks. But before we do come to Sydney, I do want to see our survey results. And we asked, what percentage, how many of you had, offerings of free dual enrollment? And only less than 6% said yes. And a little over 40% either said no or were not sure. And so this is something I think, again, Senator Washington, Dr. Cadet, Dr. Valent, and others, this is not as common as I think we think they are, particularly at the district level. There may be some states that offer this, but also at the same time, the districts have to put the money behind this. And it has to be a priority from members of school boards and the like. So let's jump into the man of the hour. Again, it was so great to have you here, Sydney, as someone who is really at the heart of the center of what we're trying to accomplish here. And so, Sydney, in Prince George's County Public Schools, middle school students have the option to apply to multiple high school options. High schools that offer STEM-centered education, language immersion, visual performing arts, CTE, among others. So the question I have for you, Sydney, is why did you choose AHS as your high school option when you had other options to choose from?
Hello. I chose AHS because I felt like it was more according to what I wanted to do. I want to be a music teacher in the future. I want to teach kids about music, be a piano teacher. And I felt like this pathway gave me the blueprint of what I needed. And so I also live right across the school, so I can just walk to school. I don't have to ride a bus or this way, transportation affordable. And AHS, it provides a lot for you. You don't have to be super smart to be in the school. You don't have to be one of the top 10% of the county. I'm great at science. I'm great at reading, but I'm not the best at math. I came in 9th grade. I didn't have an 8th grade teacher, and I came and I didn't know how to divide. I couldn't multiply, but my math teacher at my school, Academy of Health Sciences, Dr. Nog, gave me a chance. I know how to factor. I know how to do square roots and all that crazy stuff. And it's just AHS. I'm just glad I chose this school. I wouldn't know what I would do.
Thank you for that. And shout out to your teacher as well. And shout out to the educators in the audience. The importance is so connected. And the fact that you want to be an educator is so important. Sydney, what is it like being supported by Dr. Davis and his center and being a part of this group since middle school? What's that experience been like for you?
It's great. It's really an honor. I was in 8th grade. I'm so happy I was accepted into the program. I was like, is he really going to accept me? Because I wasn't sure, because it only said high schools at that time. And so I feel like being in that program set blueprints for high school. So me being in 8th grade, learning about Black history, creating my own virtual classroom, doing all these interesting stuff, it just made me want to become a teacher even more, and taking surveys and about the Black males in our county, and how there's not many of the Black male teachers. There's plenty in my school, but not many in everybody else's. Not everybody has the same opportunity. And I'm just hope that percentage will increase. with this program.
Well, thanks to you, you being a future educator, hopefully in Prince George's County Public Schools, you will contribute to that. So you're not just talking about it, you're actually doing it. So we appreciate you, brother. Before I go back to the panel, I do want to ask one last question for those in the audience. And this does speak to, again, to the offerings that are available to you in your district. And so our last survey question is, does your school district offer a career pathway or certification program? Within your public school system where you all live around the country, can a student obtain a certification in a career pathway while in that K-12 environment or through a partner institution? And as you're answering that question, I do want to jump back into our panelists. Many policymakers and educators and school leaders are coming out of COVID and are having to wrestle with where we go from here. Recently, state and local leaders across the country have struggled really to find high school models capable of driving up student attendance, which has been an issue, increasing college enrollment, which again is coming out of COVID. We want to prioritize while also ensuring that they have a well-trained workforce capable of growing the economy. So this alignment of college and career readiness, local economy driven, and something that actually is encourages students to want to get involved. And so, Senator Washington, I want to come to you. If you're talking to other state senators around the country and the legislators and your colleagues, and you're at the National Association of state and local leaders, what is your message to your colleagues around the country about why we should prioritize college and career readiness and schools like AHS?
I mean, Mr. Foster is that answer to us, honestly. I mean, he is, if that story or what he just said didn't inspire you to want to invest in CTE programs or making sure our students are career and college ready, I don't know what else will. I mean, I can't say it to you. I think Mr. Foster is saying exactly what needs to be said here and why it's so important to invest in our students. We have to do it because the federal government isn't going to do it as state legislators. The federal government will not invest significantly like we do in a state where we're providing over $9 billion a year in public education and investing in CT and career college readiness programs. And I see it as an investment in our future and the future economy of our state and the United States of America. Because if we don't invest in our young people now, who's going to invest in them later? Because right now we're seeing an overcriminalization of our families and of our Black and brown men. And I believe that investing in pre-K through 12 education right now is what we need and what needs to happen right now. And that's what I share to my colleagues. But Mr. Foster, I want to say thank you for your commitment because you are exactly why I do what I do, and I believe everybody on this panel does what they do as well. And that's why we invested in teacher preparation programs, as well as providing full scholarships for students like Mr. Foster that then go into 4-year institutions and then provide them with a scholarship so they can go to school for free if they come back and become a teacher in our school. And so I think Mr. Foster said it all, Curtis. I can't say more than that, man.
Well, that's, I would agree. But Senator Washington, I do want to ask, and I do want to press this point. I don't want to romanticize this, that if you're a state legislator and you introduce a bill to do this and you go out, that all members of your committee are going to support this outright. What are some of the issues that you think state senators and legislators around the country should prepare themselves for that you may have over the last 4 years had to deal with as you were trying to make this pitch and this policy-driven decision to really prioritize this financially, budgetarily wise, and policy-wise?
Yeah, I mean, I think we did it right in Maryland this time around in the sense that we prepared ourselves by having a 4-year work group on actually really studying and getting into the weeds of our education system here in the state of Maryland, but also around the country and in different states and in different countries. And I think that's one preparation that if you do it, start out with planning and bringing in different communities and stakeholders to develop a policy agenda and then to look at how we can pay for it, because the commission also looked at funding as a possibility. Like, what can we do? What can our counties, how can our counties afford it? How can our city, like Baltimore City or Prince George's County, afford this? And then we work with our state partners to make sure that we were equipped with the tools needed to be able to create this full infrastructure. Again, we're talking about $4 billion in our education system by year 10. So that's the infrastructure that we're rebuilding and that we're growing. And so we need to make sure, so for all my state legislators around there, we need to make sure that you're prepared for that growth in your school system, that growth in your education system, and also in your teacher preparation programs. So for us, it was a 4-year study. Then we had 2 years of a window to be able to go through the legislature, and we had to overturn the governor's veto at one point because he vetoed the blueprint for Maryland's future. And then we had to come back and overturn it. And now it's law and state law. And now we have to continue to, what I will also prepare my colleagues is you got to prepare yourselves for finding additional funding. Like where are these revenues going to come from? We don't want to increase taxes on our poor communities, but where can we find additional funds to help pay for these programs that Mr. Foster is going through, and that our students and that our students and our teachers are participating in?
No, I appreciate that. Dr. Cadet, similarly, you mentioned there are CTE offices in every state and nearly every district. Like, what's your message to your counterparts about why investing in schools like AHS and students like Sydney are so important?
So I had the opportunity, once I became an educator, to go through a program at Howard University called African American Males into Teaching. And this was when I was well into my adulthood, well into my career, after I'd finished college. And it was through that program I was able to really hone and develop my pedagogy and my desire to lead in a public school. I think that I applaud Sydney and Dr. Davis because they're coming at it at the much earlier age, which is exactly the point of what we do with CTE. So the message that I really want to convey is that I need people to understand that career and technical education is not voc tech, it's not vocational, it's not that. It is not. If anything, you can consider it the evolution or the reimagining of project-based learning, because what it really happens is students are able to find areas of interest and passion, and then they're able to link up with industry specialists to say, and they'll say, this is what it looks like to operate on a body. This is what it's like to build a building from the basement to the roof. This is what it's like to build a computer from parts on a table. This is what it is, and this is what the work entails. So as you're getting that experience, as you're teaching students, especially while their brains are still in that proximal range of development where they're able to absorb it and really take it in, that two things happen. One, they either entrench themselves in their passion, or they say, that's not for me. Maybe I'll pivot to something different. And then as students are developing these skills and honing their passion, it's happening in school. And what do you have? You have engagement. When you have engagement, you have attendance. When you have attendance, you have on-time graduation. So Curtis, you would also mention some statistics earlier about the rate of matriculation when students experience teachers of African-American background. I have another set of statistics for you, which I would implore that our policymakers and constituents and parents kind of tune into. 93% of all students that are in a CTE program graduate on time. And of that percentage, 91% of them that graduate from a CTE program, move on to a 4-year college, graduate a 4-year college on time. So not only are you finishing on time because you're engaged and because you're excited, you're also going on. You remember how I said what you're learning in high school, these certifications, these endorsements, these everythings, all of that helps fuel your additional learning in your post-secondary. And that can be a 4-year institution, a college, a university, a trade school, the military, the armed forces, whatever your options are. Going through these programs, it prepares you to come out and be a decision maker. And that's really what we want to do. We want to make sure that our students and our parents know that when our students graduate, they're graduating with earning potential and also with saving potential. Saving potential in the sense of not just saving dollars, but also being able to save and impact their community. We recently, last week, attended the graduation for our fire science cadet program, where one of our students was just highlighted on Channel 9 News because everything he learned in the fire science program, he used to actually save his brother's life and stop his house from being burnt down. And he was awarded with a citation from the fire chief saying that, and he even said, had it not been for the training I received in my CTE fire science program, my brother might not be here, my house would be gone, and my family would be devastated. So we're teaching and we're exposing students to things that have immediate application, things that can actually generate revenue for them in real time, because we have students that have learned how to repair computers. They've started their own little kiosks at the mall. We have students that in our construction trades, they have definitely started doing side jobs, or they have worked through our apprenticeship program where they are employees of Prince George's County in their senior year, and they are earning the same checks that everybody get paid every 2 weeks like any other employee in Prince George's County Public School. So the reach of CTE is not for that child that's not going to college. CTE is for every single student that has a passion and an interest in a particular field that they wish to explore once they graduate from high school.
Thank you so much. And so to repeat that, 93% of students who are in CTE graduate on time, 91% of those graduate four-year institutions on time. So
yes,
tweet that, whoever's out there. And so Dr. Valentine, I do want to come to you again. Talking to school leaders around the country, folks who are running buildings, folks who are interested in responding to the needs of their community. What is your message to your colleagues around the country about why schools like yours are so important?
So I think all of our panelists have pretty much shared the idea or thought that the work speaks for itself. Sydney told his story, and everyone could share an idea about an experience that they've had with these pathways and how students, families, communities have been successful as a result. And I'll just give one. Just yesterday, two AHS alum came by, one of which was class of 2021, our first graduate from our teacher prep program. So the first graduating class for teacher prep was class of 2021. She's 19 years old. She just graduated from University of Maryland about 2 weeks ago. And she is entering the workforce as a teacher, elementary educator. And, I had to grab her up real quick, cadet, because I said, you got to step into my office. We got to call HR real quick. And so she was like, wait, I'm already talking to another county. I won't say which, but I said, no, let's talk about your options. So we got on the phone with HR. HR called me today and said that she's coming in to meet with them tomorrow. And so again, the work speaks for itself. She's a 19-year-old student entering elementary education as a teacher in the fall. So I'll just say to that, we have a responsibility as school leaders to meet the needs of our community through our students. And that was just one example of an opportunity in which we've been able to do that. We are, as educators, I noticed on the first survey, most people were either educators, identified as educators, or advocates. But as educators, we are advocates. And we have to continue to advocate for special programs that help meet those needs of our students in our community. We have to continue to communicate, whether it be platforms like this, presentations to at conferences, communicate the awesome and exciting things that are happening in our schools, because we are models of success. We have to share the tools and resources, and we have the tools and resources that make us successful, but we also have to share, what our failures are for others to learn from them, because this model didn't just become this model. There were years and years and different iterations of MOUs and different ideas. We continue to redraft our pathway, our course sequences, because again, we have to meet the needs of our students. And so we can't just sit here and say what was great in 2011 is going to be great in 2023. And so we have to continue to advocate for our students in that sense, but also maintaining these partnerships, bringing in Dr. Davis and his team, because we're trying to build our teacher prep program. And Dr. Davis has an idea. He says, well, can I give you 35 young men from my program? Absolutely, you can, because guess what? I have 50 seats or 150 seats to fill. So let's start and bring in your young men from your program, because what I do know is the most successful aspect of our program is when students come into our programs interested in wanting to be there. And so when we talk about the attendance and the engagement and graduating on time and the success rate of our programs, it has to start with student interest. And starting with Dr. Davis and his program, we're bringing in young men who are already interested in education. We're not having to sell anything to them. And then we are going back into the middle schools. We can't start in ninth grade. We can't start engaging the interest of our students around careers and technology and education or dual enrollment in ninth grade. We have to start in middle school. They have to begin to hear the language. They have to understand what the consequences or the pros and the cons are to all of these factors involved. So school leaders, we have to we can identify as educators, but we must also identify as advocates.
Thank you so much. I do want to come to Dr. Davis and Sydney, but I do want to get our survey results from those in the audience who are going to share whether they have this option within their district for a career pathway or certification option. So again, roughly 60% said yes, but roughly 40% either said no or weren't sure. And so again, for those around the country who are listening in, please reach out to us and to others if you want more information about how to make these introductions within your district with your school board, your office of CTE, or your state legislators. This is an opportunity to be an advocate for your children and for your district. Dr. Davis, AHS, the Academy of Health Science at Prince George's Community College, is uniquely positioned to address this national pandemic of teacher shortages and teacher diversity that again has become a priority for a lot of people. And so you do have a dual purpose with AHS, while also building this career pipeline as early as middle school. So you got the teacher diversity, you have teacher shortage, you have this pipeline. And so, Davis, what is your message to your contemporaries, particularly at HBCUs, who may be interested in similar partnerships or are thinking about it or are reluctant to partner with? We have HBCUs around the country. What is your message to them who are maybe a little sluggish to want to introduce themselves to district leaders and to introduce opportunities for partnerships like the one you have with AHS?
Well, I'm a two-time alum of HBCUs, Lincoln University in Pennsylvania, Morgan State in Baltimore. So I'm a proud advocate of HBCUs. And I think that HBCUs, community colleges, and school districts like Prince George's County generally serve the same type of student population. And so it makes sense for us to work together to build on each other's student populations and our successes. I really like what Dr. Valentine said about just learning from the work that we're doing and constantly enhancing it. And I think that our HBCUs, we constantly have to be thinking about redesigning our teacher prep programs. And a lot of our student populations are now coming from community college. So it makes sense to partner with programs like the Academy of Health Sciences, teacher prep pathway for us to address the shortage and to diversify the population, because community colleges, HBCUs, and school districts like Prince George's County have a diverse population of students that would make great educators to come back to their home districts. I had the privilege of coming back to my home district in Baltimore, and I think it's an honor and a privilege to go back to your school system and give back in that way.
Thank you. Sydney, again, we're talking about you a lot, bruh. You're a shining star out here. But I want you to talk to your classmates. Somebody invited you back to a middle school in Prince George's County. What is your pitch? What is your message to eighth graders right now on why they should choose AHS?
So first, before I give my pitch, one thing I want to say that Dr. Valentine, I'm going to piggyback off. You have to care. You need to care. If you don't care, it's not going to work out. You need to care. You need to be committed. At AHS, there's been athletes at the college level come from our school, musicians. You don't have to want to be a scientist or a teacher to be involved in AHS. So that's my first bullet point. The second bullet point I have to say is it's hard. It's a lot of work. And so if you're not looking for a challenge, the school is not for you. You want a challenge, you want to change a pace, change a schedule. You're not going to be, it's different. It's a lot of different things you need to get used to. So that's what I want to say.
No, I appreciate that. Dr. Valentine, I mentioned to you just earlier, you're a mother of a child who's in one of our P-Tech schools, who's also earning an associate's degree. What is your message to parents as you're going out in the district on why they should choose AHS over all the other options they have in your local school district?
Well, let me say this, I'm not going to get in trouble on this webinar. I am a proponent for all of our programs in the school district. Ours is just a little bit different. And of course, it's very special to me. And I'll tell you, we're a lot smaller. Early middle college program, 50 students on an annual basis in other high schools, which makes their community that they need to become famous like everybody else. So Dr. Arnel Arnaud has the opportunity, because of our small class size, to spend the time with students who may or may not feel that they came to us prepared or with certain skills that their peers may have. And so we have levels of support in place to ensure that when Sydney goes to his next semester or his next math class, he feels like he's ready. Because we're on the community college's campus, we have access, and just because of proximity to college resources, our students can go right downstairs. We're on the 3rd floor, but the 1st floor are where they can sign up for tutorial services. Our students can participate in extracurricular activities with the community college. Our students, AHS students, are the community college's SGA vice president and presidents, and we pretty much run the entire Prince George's Community College Student Government Association in a variety of capacities. So we have our access really provides those opportunities to us, but inside our space, we're small, we're a very close-knit family. Everybody knows your name. By the time our students transition to their 3rd year, which is when they're full-time college students, they're very acclimated to our space. We have a summer bridge, a 3-week summer bridge program where our students take their first college class, and that way they're able to kind of get adjusted to this new environment, taking college courses during the summer before they're inundated with all of their other high school courses and college courses during their first semester in the fall. So I'm just really proud of my team here at AHS, our faculty and staff. They love their students, they support their students, and they provide their students with what they need at all hours of the day.
Thank you. Thank you all so much for this amazing time and hour. I do want to give Senator Washington the final word, and particularly because within our school district, within the state of Maryland, we do offer parents a lot of choice. So parents can choose a CTE program, magnet school programs, traditional public school systems, and in some cases, charter schools. The College Park Academy Charter School, I believe, is also in your district, Senator Washington, as well. And so as you're talking about sort of the different options that we have, talk about just sort of why Prince George's County Public Schools and district is different, and all the different choices that, and the importance of having choice in where you send your child.
Thanks, Curtis. What's wild is that while you're asking me my question, my daughter's calling me right now. They're always right on time, right?
Yeah.
No, I want to just thank you thank you on behalf of the panel, myself, and just for having us today on this call. Is really important that we talk about public education and the options that our parents have. I believe parental engagement is extremely important to our school systems to understand the needs of our students and the parents themselves, to have wraparound resources for those families, no matter what background or zip code they live in. I believe it's important that we continue to listen to our teachers, understanding what their needs are and what we can do to support them, as well as the administration of our schools. That's what's so special to Prince George's County Public Schools, is that they do all those things in one. At one place at one time, and they listen to our community, and they try, and our school system tries to work to make sure that we provide an excellent world-class education to our students. Are we faced with challenges like everyone else? Obviously. Do we have a pathway to go? Yes. But we are all passionate and ready to get to work. And I know that it's hard work, as Mr. Foster did do, just is great with one-liners. He said, don't do it if you're not ready for hard work. It is hard work, not only as a parent, but a student, a teacher, an administrator, a school board member, Mr. Valentine. It's hard for all of us, and it's a lot of hard work. And so as state legislators around this country, we have to continue to listen to our families and students and administrators to provide a world-class education for all of our students, because the level playing field is vast, especially specifically for Black and Brown families and students. And so for me, it's important that we continue to invest in those communities and do the work that we can to ensure that we provide that world-class education, that promise that we committed to a long time ago to our students and families.
Thank you, Senator. Thank you, Dr. Cadet, Dr. Davis, Sydney, and Dr. Valentine for joining us today. Thank you, everyone. We couldn't get to all the questions in the chat, but feel free to reach out to us. You know, we have our Twitter handle, RAS_education. Please follow us on Twitter. You can tweet us questions and we'll make sure our panelists respond to those questions. Again, follow our work, follow my colleague Taylor's work here at the Progressive Policy Institute for the work that we're doing. And please stay tuned for the next 2 webinars on the future of high school. Thank you all for joining us today. You all have a great day. Thank you so much, panel.